My name is Connie Guerrero. Welcome. I'd like to introduce you to Rudy Espinosa Murray, who's my co-anchor. Hola, Rudy. Hello, hello.
Hey, everyone. How are you?
Good, doing good. So with WeVote, we will be bringing you a few segments from around the community, a couple different speakers. And today we have the opportunity to speak to, just have a conversation with our Council-elect Lisette Espinosa Garnica, who will be talking to us today. Rudy.
So hi, everyone. Connie, I'm really excited to be here with you and hold these conversations and bring special guests to talk about local politics, how people are getting involved, some of the things that people care about, and things that people can do. So I'm very happy to be here with you, Connie.
Thank you. Thank you. So with that, if we could bring Lisette.
Hello.
Hello, Lisette. Welcome.
Hi, Lisette.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for saying yes to our, to having a little chat with us. We'd like to get to know you a little bit more and just have a casual conversation with you in regards to Redwood City, your district, and how you're feeling right now. So we just have, a couple questions for you.
Okay, awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Lisette, I'm really happy that you won. I think it's amazing to see what's happening specifically in the Redwood City Council. For the first time, we have a council, which means a lot to folks, to people when you won.
Sorry, I think the internet went out for a little. I missed what you. The start of what you said, but I heard the beginning of it.
I can ask the question. So, how does it feel to be council, and what are some of the reactions that you got from your friends and your family once you found out?
Yeah, well, I'm ecstatic. I was fairly confident in our message because the values that we have are exactly centering those in this community. A majority minority district with predominantly Latinx community, a large renter class here as well. And I made sure to also incorporate their needs in my campaign. And I was so confident that we'd win because we were really speaking truth to power, that workers weren't being positioned in the center. Marginalized people like Black and brown people and disabled people and queer trans people were not being centered, and they ought to be now because there's been so much gentrification. And I'm just looking forward to all of the possibilities there are to, to remedy the harms that have gone on and for too long in Redwood City. I'm really excited, especially with other candidates winning that are, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what are some of those reactions from your family? What are some of those reactions from your friends and family? Because I mean, looking on social media, it seems like a lot of people are excited about your win. So tell us about that.
Well, it's true. People are excited, and I don't think people are excited enough about a candidate. For a long time, even locally, it's the better of two evils, and no one's excited to do that. No one wants to go. No one wants to vote begrudgingly. And my my campaign was trying to also speak to people who can't vote, like undocumented people, those who are dissatisfied with who they have to elect because they know in the end no one's really going to vouch for them. I feel really confident in what I set out to do and what I'm able to do and staying true to those values. And I think people are definitely excited after many disappointments and for not having many candidates run before that were so open and honest about working class values and so on. Yeah.
That's absolutely great, Lisette. A lot of the work that we do at We Vote Redwood City has been voter engagement, voter registration, voter participation, GOTV within Redwood City, because we have seen that that it's been in the past years, it's been very low voter turnout and participation. So I think, with district election, it's kind of created an opportunity for other, people of color to run within, the different districts. So I'm kind of wondering what you think with regards to representation of our community within the BCCs, the boards, committees, and commissions of the city, and also maybe within the city staff, with city department heads and city departments like the fire department and the, police department, and what you think about diversity, in general.
Yeah, well, I think many places ought to be proportionally represented. We ought to have proportional representation in most cases, like of our city is largely people of color. So our representatives should be largely of color. And then in some cases, say if it's like on like anti-terror in our streets, I would be in favor of having only people of color, like just Black and brown people on those boards, because Black and brown people can speak to certain experiences like racism better than white people. And so these are also things I'd like to see, because these voices are not centered enough. And we ought to have things that look into making jobs and sites more accommodating for people that are also physically disabled. We don't do good job doing that. Like during the pandemic, a lot more people were able to participate in city council because it was done on Zoom. We ought to keep that. We ought to make things accessible to all types of people. There are many reasons to stay home, especially now, but even after pandemic, we ought to keep these avenues very easily accessible, making it more transparent on how to get involved. Like figuring out how to even run for city council was complicated in itself. And
so maybe with regards to that, could you tell me a little bit about what ideas you have, or what you would do to get people more interested in running for, in applying for the BCCs or running for, election within, their districts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think part of it is thinking of working with other orgs and unions that already do campaign sites. Like I would like to do union drives where folks know more about what campaigns are already in existence, that they can be part of. A lot of working people can be part of their unions or form a union in order to campaign for their rights and protections. I think also for that, I want to also talk about having a quota for residents being hired. Like EPA has their own quota for how many, like a first priority quota. Essentially, at least half of those hired to work in Redwood City should be residents of Redwood City. Keep it local. I really want to enforce that because there's a big commuter issue coming on with not creating enough housing as development for offices and other jobs. So we ought to balance that out and also put priority to whoever's been most affected by poverty. So Black and brown people, disabled people, like queer, trans people, like those most affected from homelessness should also be like filling in those boards. So I think there ought to be more efforts to make it more transparent which boards there are, which commissions there are, to also make it less elitist in the way, because people want you to fit certain categories, like you have to serve in a planning committee before you run for city council. Like, don't think about doing this before doing that. Honestly, we ought to be educating people how you don't need any of that to really know your own experience as a working class member of society and to speak on behalf of your own experience. And that's the real power. So putting effort into organizing people and teaching more about grassroots organizing and not just relying on, SAMCAR or some police union to create an organization or an association for the marginalized communities, because those will only ever be photo ops for them. They're really not looking to benefit families that are struggling at the poverty level.
Hey, Lisette, I have a question there. So going back, talking about boards and commissions, I think that it is harder for a person who is a working class to become a part of them because usually they have more than one job. Usually they don't work office hours, right? And a lot of boards and commissions are centered around folks that have a certain lifestyle. So when it comes to pay, for example, taking that time from work means that it comes at a cost for them to be able to serve on a board or a commission. Is there something the city council can do to modify that? Even, for example, for the city council itself, because a lot of times you have folks that are either retired and have a pension, or people that are just, individually wealthy that can spend the time to sit on a city council and serve that time, because you're not really getting paid to be on the city council, right? You're not actually and there's work to be done. So what are some of the things that you can do on the city council? What are some of the issues you can bring up or things you can try to change so that it is easier for, a working mother with maybe 2 jobs to be able to be a planning commissioner?
Yeah, I think perhaps we ought to have apprenticeships that start young for that, that work affirmatively, targeting people of color and those that are marginalized, so they have positions and experience before they even graduate high school in city level positions. And then we also ought to think about creating these positions as jobs, that are full-time and living, because I see the choices I make as city council, for example, I help decide, put the final decision on how we budget the entire city. We can make anyone a job. We organize who has a job and how much they get paid, and what goes into benefits and all that. So a job that's that important ought to have more investment in that, so people that are most affected by the results, the decisions in these councils, have a say as well. So I think paying full-time, paying a price that's actually livable goes into even the elected office positions, because you're not going to get more marginalized people running for office if they're not able to pay rent. And that's the biggest issue. People that are fighting for tenants' rights are the people that are struggling the most. And the only way to really rectify that is that we also give them a wage to advocate on the council as well. So it's definitely a worthwhile battle to create this this full-time position, a salary in these boards, to ensure that there are marginalized people on these councils, because it can't be just cishet white people at the table.
Yeah. You ran, just what you're saying now just makes me think of something. You ran on a very progressive platform, and you're probably considered the most progressive person that's sitting on the city council right now, or is about to sit in the city council. You talked about defunding the police, public housing, rent control. How do you see yourself working with the rest of the city council that are more moderate or conservative when compared to some of the things that you stand for?
Yeah. Well, at first, it was a battle to be even recognized. I spoke many times in city council at public comment, and with many people, over 40 people after George Floyd, for many nights on city council, we're talking about defunding the police, and almost would be a unanimous consensus, basically, that people wanted to defund the police when they were calling in. But they haven't really done much in that. And was saying that they did call those abolitionists or those calling to defund the police young people when they couldn't see us, just diminishing us, making us seem as if we're children or just naive. and also calling us fringe supporters. We had some city council members call us a fringe group. And always there was like an invisible constituent that they had to bring up. It's like, oh, well, these other constituents' interests are this and that. And so we ran a candidate, and now they're acknowledging, the work I've done in that. Not only is it me, but it's this district that came out. It's no longer a fringe. And I've seen people's tone change even as I run, before I even ran, like their tone change on housing and policing. So I think my influence just running, whether I won or lost, had a big impact, because representatives now know that the city is watching them, and the working class people, the marginalized people are listening and are voting for their interest, and they will organize. And we are learning and are getting better at organizing ourselves without any other corporate interests. So they are really having to think on their feet and be quick also with decisions, because they can be voted out by us. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that this time around, right, throughout the county, not just in Redwood City, but in other cities throughout the county. We have seen that. And but I think we still have a lot to work. I've been working in the community for many years on different things with various nonprofits that serve the underserved community. And, I've just have always said that you need to listen to the Latino community, right? Not just people in certain neighborhoods. So, but you are still going to need to work on a lot of the issues that affect our communities. That affect Redwood City, that you're going to have to not just work within your district, but throughout the city. So I'm kind of interested in finding out from you, like, how are you going to stay connected to your district, first of all, and then how will you work? What kind of what interests you as far as regionally? Like, what committees do you think you would be able to work on regionally, and how will you connect to your district?
Yeah. So I still have to look into further what the subcommittees or committees there are. I would definitely be interested in a committee on policing and also transportation to talk about. And those are the issues I really care about, making accessible to all. What was that?
Those are big ones, transportation and policing. That's great.
Yeah. Because I think, even right now we have an ad hoc committee on policing. And it's like Alicia Aguirre and 2 white women. And it's like, I think it should be the people of color on council on this ad hoc committee on policing. It'd be it'd be the smart thing to do, honestly.
Right.
And
okay.
So those are the kind of things I hope to have. Plans I have now are maybe I should, most likely I'll be hosting hangouts. I want to hang casual Zoom hangouts regularly. I did that while I was campaigning. That was something I kept hearing while I was campaigning from people, hey, I'll vote for you, but where are you going to be after after the election? Because most of the elected officials disappear. And so I really want to have a presence that's accessible online, but also have a phone line that's directly to me, and also have virtual hangouts like that where we can just discuss openly. And I was thinking we could do things like Q&A with the speakers virtually as well. I've seen plenty of examples of people having guests. So, yeah.
I'm just inviting you, if you would like. I mean, We Vote Redwood City is going to continue to engage the community on various things, including, registration, representation, voting, get out the votes. And, for the next election, we will work on local elections, whatever, the next one is. So I invite you to be, part of that in your district. And there's a lot of different nonprofits, that are doing a lot of wonderful work. So it would be great to have you maybe speak to them and, give them some of your input.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to. Definitely.
Okay.
I definitely want to be on the ground on these issues that are directly going to benefit our folks,
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of issues right now with COVID and making sure that the community has testing and that we are bringing resources to the community, with regards to rental assistance, food, and COVID testing and all of that. So there's a lot of need out there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess we have a limited amount of time, Lisa, and I hope that we're going to have you on here again to talk once you get sworn in. There are a lot of people that are really, really excited about you being sworn in. What message do you have for your district? What do you want them to know about you before we step off?
Well, I feel like I definitely want to be. Well, first, I guess I'm honored that folks elected me to be their representative in council, and I hope to hold out on all of my promises. And I hope to be held accountable by everyone. Who on my promises. I set out to do major things that I 100% believe. I believe housing is an essential. It is essential. It is not just a commodity. That's why we need housing for all. I think that people are redeemable. People are also not disposable. And that's why we need to invest in community care and not just policing, because the policing ends up harming marginalized people who are disabled and people of color, those that are not being catered to by society, for their needs. And so, I'm very willing to hear out folks. I have experience being a pre-K teacher. I did after school programming, I was a program coordinator for students at an elementary school in East San Jose, and I'm a caregiver for adults. I have patience, and if you have needs, you can talk to me. I studied, systemic oppression in university, and I take care of elderly people and disabled people, and I've taken care of children. I am here to really listen to disaffected groups and to whatever grievances you really have, because I'm sure that as city council, I can do something. If I can't
I think that's the first step, is listening always, right? Yeah. Listening to your community, and from there is where you learn a lot, and you're able to find out what the needs are, listen to the people, and go from there. So I just want to thank you so much, Lisette, for being here with us today. And I hope that we can connect again. I hope that we can do, I just want you to know that we're here, to help you or to talk to you. If you want to come to us, have any questions or something that you'd like to discuss with us, I'm open to, to having those discussions with you.
No, I'm so happy. I'm looking forward to this. I really need to, there's so much more to still learn. There's so much I picked up on the campaign, but I'm looking forward to all of this.
Wonderful. Well,
yeah, thanks for bringing some kindness and compassion to your office. I mean, I think that's exciting to hear a politician, because now you're a politician. To hear you're bringing that life experience, not only your own, but working with others, right? Those that are typically marginalized, that you can represent them and have a voice on the city council. You're now on the table. You're not on the menu. So congrats.
Here we go. Yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I think we'll see you next time, and we'll see you out in the community. Lisette, to our new Redwood City Council Member-elect, Lisette Espinosa Garnica. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. And we vote aquí con Peninsula 360. Thank you so much. Gracias a todos por participar en este programa. Estaremos otra vez el próximo sábado. We'll be live again next Saturday, speaking to members of our community. Thank you so much.